Hello, everybody. Just got off of work and I'm going to get on here and do a discussion and talk about gangstalking. I noticed my last video number 38, Electric Mist. I was not getting the response that I and I starting to realize, well, maybe this stuff is just a little bit too advanced for the TIs out there. Now, I know some of you do understand the information. Some of you find it fascinating and interesting. But I know it seems really hard to connect the dot and correlate the electric mist with the gang stalking. And I am not expecting you to believe the information as related to gang stalking, because I know in order for you to believe it, you must go through your own experience. You must find your own discovery. Only then will you elevate your spirit and be able to understand the correlation. If you have not gotten the experience, that specific experience, I would not know how you can actually elevate yourself to understanding the correlation between electric mist and gang stalking. But I know you will. Just give it some time. Today, I want to talk about this TI community and how on YouTube there's a lot of hate going on. Well, I know all you TIs out there on YouTube, the content creator, I know all of you got some asshole gang stalkers. They're all trash. All your gang stalkers are trash. And I know your gang stalkers will manipulate your mind to lose focus when it comes to my videos. And I also know these trash gang stalkers of yours are the one manipulating the TIs to have this internal war. See, if you remember in my earlier videos, I mentioned when you go to Walmart, you walk down an aisle, it's more likely that you're seeing another TI and you're thinking that TI is a gang stalker. So I mentioned this before, and it has gotten to a point now it's becoming more noticeable, because this community now on YouTube, or actually I noticed is separated into two groups. Either one group believing that they are the only he or she's the only real TI, and there's not many real TIs on YouTube, and majority of these content creators are fakes and perps and agents. And then there's another group of TI out there whom are the more spiritual, like, who are the more positive ones, and talking about enlightenment and all that spirituality and living positive, and try not to let your focus get away. Try not to think about all the negatives. It's coming down to basically just these two groups. one group believe it is the government, and these all these majority of these content creators are agents. And I'm a firm, okay, I'm a firm believer that everyone's a TI. Everybody's a TI. And for the true TIs, we are the special ones. And I also want you to know, people people on YouTube are all TIs. They're all real TIs. And
Hi, Seventh.
I I would like to have one of these open discussion. I would love to debate another TI out there that wants to call content creators fakes, because I think it'll be very fascinating. So maybe this coming Monday, next Monday evening, I can have one of these open debates. It'll be fun. But hey List, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you for
Can you hear
meeting
me?
with me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, one second. Let me turn up. I think my volume. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Great. How are you doing?
Okay. Not too bad. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me and respond.
Yeah, of course. I'm just hey, I just want to listen to your story and maybe give you some of my insight. I don't know if they'll help you or not, but I hope they will.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just listening to my story would be amazing,
Yeah,
probably because
you want someone to listen to you, right? Like,
yeah, because most people just don't believe it because it's so out of this world and there are so many aspects to it. So yeah, I
yeah.
don't know, I don't really know where to start. I've never been on a live stream before, so
Well, it's fun. I mean, I haven't done many of these, but I mean, I'm just learning as well. I want to be able to share screens, like on the internet and show documents and other things, but I haven't figured that out yet. So, but yeah. So, um, how long have you been going through this?
well, looking back, I think it may have gone all the way back to 2015
Now,
because that's when I noticed a shift in the way people were responding to me. People that I didn't know, a few people that I did know, and so I'm not really sure, but I know that the evidence that I started to get really started in 2020.
okay. Now, when you say evidence to get, like, what was the most convincing evidence that you were receiving?
Really, it's not much, and I think it's designed that way, and um, it's mostly a compilation of just really weird interactions that are just outside of the norm, and starring, probably at this point 100 people I
Oh,
have on, hidden cameras is what I was using. Um, initially just to validate it for myself, and I don't know that I'll ever do anything with it. It's just good for me to look back and kind of reflect and be able to understand that this is not just a fabrication in my head. This is not mental illness or anything of that nature.
it's definitely not mental illness, and it's definitely not a fabrication. It's very real, and I'll tell you, the medical industry, the entire industry of doctors specialized in schizophrenia, like
Mhm.
they would not understand what's going on, and the patient that they're used to treating are just TIs like us, but the TIs have went through um, unfortunate events in life that have led them to see a doctor. And obviously, I also believe these TIs are not as educated in controlling their temper, not uh, as well rounded in communicating with people in the in a civil manner. And that's
Mhm.
how one thing led to another. These TIs would kind of lose lose themselves in transitioning. You know what I mean? Like in life, uh, dealing with gang stalking, and that is what I believe are actually labeled as schizo. Those type of people, those type of TI. Now, for a TI that can actually are more sane and can uh, be more civilized and be able to conduct in a professional manner out in public,
Mhm.
like those type of TI will will battle this, and I I don't like it when people label like this specific type of TI, the TI that can handle this, as schizo. Like that's just wrong. It just brings a bad, like a bad feeling, right? Being called as a
Mhm.
schizo. I know we're not schizos, and one thing is very important though is if you're watching my videos, well, have you seen most of my videos?
Yes, I actually kind of binged on a lot of them last night just to make sure I wanted to meet with you and that you were on the level, and I really liked what I saw, and I like your approach. It
Okay.
seems like you got a really good mindfulness approach to it, and that's what I think has gotten me through it. Because as I said, I'm pretty sure this began in 2015, so this has been a long time now. This is going
Okay.
on 6 years, and I have been very mindful, and I dealt with it in stride. And like, I really agree with what you said. A lot of people who are diagnosed schizophrenic, are not, and certainly have just had a whole ton of trauma. I do think
Yes.
schizophrenia does exist. um, I do believe some people are not targeted, and do develop, this organic brain disorder. But I don't think there's anywhere near as many as what we're led to believe. But
Mm.
going back to the mindfulness thing, you know, the moving and being drained of resources has what has got me just in a place where, I've been fighting to not fight, to not want to physically strike out. Um,
Okay. Now,
and
okay, I understand. It's not everyone is. I would say I'm one of the more fortunate TI to be able to have the resources and fortunate to learn what I learned by living here. And I know not everyone is the same, and there's a lot of unfortunate TIs out there. And now I want to ask you, if you lay everything out on the table, what is the number one thing that bothers you the most when it comes to gang stalking as of right now?
definitely the side conversations.
Okay, now let's stick with this topic. Side conversation. Are you talking about uh, people talking about you?
So
I'm
when yes, when I'm in a public place, and I'm kind of always trying to look at things in terms of a big picture, and realize that there are a lot of things that I've been sensitized to, and that just because someone mentions one of those sensitized things, guess what? A lot of those sensitized triggers are super common things that people talk about, and that's part of why I believe they're chosen as well. And so I'm not talking about that where it's like, could be someone just talking about something that seems like it's about me, like someone with long
okay.
hair, for example, or
Okay, now, okay, let's break that down because it's really good that you brought this up. Now, I want to get a better picture of what you mean by someone talking about you. Let's just say if you walk into a large area, okay, large open space. Let's say you walked into a Walmart, okay. I like to use Walmart because it's common, you know. So say you walk into
Mhm.
a Walmart and you're in the grocery section in the back, okay, where the milks are. This is in the dairy, okay. And when you say people talking, do you mean like no one's near you, but you can see people kind of further away from you, but you go mind doing your own thing and you can kind of hear them talking about you?
I think a lot of that, when people are far away, it can really appear like that because of the microwave, whatever it is,
Yes,
whatever you want
yes.
to call that. And so I've stopped trying to figure out what is that and what is it, and what I'm perceiving to be people talking about me. I'm talking about someone's lips are moving. I can turn around and see them. I can see that they're talking about this thing, and what they're talking about is, oh, look at that girl. She's so weird. I know, I heard about her. And these are people who don't know me, and um, having directed conversations where people are definitely referencing you,
Okay.
and there's multiple people involved, and they're looking at you, and it's not just looking at someone as if to see a person, all this normal stuff. It's abnormal
Okay.
looks,
So
stare.
basically, I understand where you're going at, because I also went through this. But see, my personality is, I'm the way I am is, I don't really I'm not the type that talks shit to people, like I don't use my energy to try to think of something negative about a person.
Mhm.
So it's almost like my mind, I now gotten to a point where I just don't have all these random thoughts, because let's put it this way. I don't know, have you ever talked trash to these voices? Because obviously when you're in the store, these voices, I mean, these people talking about you, they're making you feel uncomfortable, correct? They're making you feel uneasy. And so I would say that's a negative experience. And being civilized out in public, you're not going to go create confrontation with them like some of these other TIs when they make videos, like you don't want to do that. Just mind your own business. But have you tried responding to what they're saying? Like they're talking about you. Have you tried responding to them using your own voice inside your mind?
Um, I guess not as much. I guess I'm usually thinking, is it worth saying anything? And
Yes.
usually I won't. Usually I won't, unless it is just so glaringly obvious and they are like getting in my space,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And
and
I know
and I mean,
exactly what you mean. Now,
actually, go ahead.
sorry, sorry to interrupt you, but I gotta say, okay, when you said you don't know if it's worth it, or you want to talk trash back, but sometimes you feel like it's not even worth it to do it inside your mind. Now, I went through this phase. I remember many nights where I was just lying in bed. I try to think of, okay, I need to. There were nights when I think about, oh, I need to make more money. I need to make more money. What can I do to make more money? So I try to think of ideas to make money. And back then, I didn't know, but then now I know there's this lower voice to skull, this little voice telling me inside my head, oh, and it's making me feel like, oh, but my mind is so tired. There's so much work to think about how to make money. I'll just think about it later. Like
Mm,
now thinking back on it, there was this little voice telling me, my own mind, I'm too tired now. I don't want to think about this stuff. And convince myself to not think about making money and just kind of just think about random stuff. Now, when this was happening, obviously I was not experienced enough to understand what's going on, and I thought they were my own thoughts. But now thinking back on it, I know it wasn't mine. And they were trying to make me not think about ways to make more money and have a better life, stuff like that. And same goes for when you're in the store, you hear these people talking, and being verbally abusing you, and only you're the only one that can hear it. And everywhere you go in this store, you're receiving these like verbal abuse from these gang stalkers, right? That's something I experienced in the past, and that's when I realized, you know what, I if they're gonna be talking, I need to be talking back, because trying to ignore them is not gonna work. They're not gonna go away. By me talking trash to them using my mind, I made them respect me more now. And I was in Walmart last night. Last night's experience compared to 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's night and day. They don't even talk to me now. They keep their mouth shut, but I know they're there. But it's like that's how much trash I talk to them. Like you have to really understand the no fear mentality. The next time you're in the store, the next time you're anywhere, even outside, because outside they could try to make you think it's your neighbors or coming from the direction of your neighbors. But sounds like you already know it. It's not them. Sounds like you already know there's some type of microwave, electromagnetic uh, audio, right?
Yeah, and I do think some people have slightly different types of targeting. Like I have talked to a few other TIs online, and there are people who are targeted because their family doesn't like them, and their family has a lot of power, and they've tried to tell their family they don't want to be involved with them. I've heard of people who were targeted because they were in the military and they knew something that someone didn't want them to know. Um, and so I do definitely get the targeting where there are other people who can hear these people. And so it's not the projected sound, but, and I used to, I would confront them, with words and just put an end to it immediately by just calling out the fact that you don't know me, right? So why would you say that? And then they would just, kind of freak out and usually leave. Um, but I do like what you're saying about when there's no one around, or it's pretty obvious, like the voices are the same voices, or they don't match with your neighbors, they don't match with the people who are around you.
Mm-hmm.
Or I notice sometimes they will sound similar, but they're a little bit off, like almost robotic.
Yes, they are robotic, and now actually, to be to tell you, now has gotten to a stage where they can mimic my family's voices, like
Right.
really
Yeah.
fast. Like they can just
I've had that, but it sounds off, and you just kind of know. And there have been a few times, like I would hear what sounded like a family member saying sentences, and I would look, and the family member's mouth was not moving; they were not talking.
yeah. I mean,
And
here's the thing. Like obviously,
crazy.
I can tell you have a strong awareness, and you're one of those more advanced TIs out there. And right now, you're just in right in the transitioning, and I already know you're not gonna move towards the danger zone. I see you moving, you're elevating yourself already. And what the difference between my experience and other TI's experience is it's different. And that's what in each one of these experience can really just open the door of in our mind to a whole new perspective on everything. And these perspective can connect dots to things that we already know in the past that we didn't know. Now's the time to connect these dots. So,
Mhm.
and fortunately, I feel like my experience is so unique. That's why I have to make these videos. And I know you have your own unique experience, and we can help each other. Now, I want to ask you: are you receiving voice to skull? Like, can you say you're receiving it, or you kind of had experience with it? You know, you're receiving it.
Yes, not only have I been receiving it, but I noticed when they were, I don't know if they were beta testing it on me or something, but I went through a period of time for about 3 to 4 months where I would hear just static and all kinds of interesting sounds, and that was in the very beginning of noticing this. And I really started to think, gosh, do I need to see a psychiatrist? Like, am I having some auditory hallucinations? But I noticed that it would just be totally random.
Okay.
And
Now, my
um,
advice. Sorry,
and
my
so
advice. Oh,
the simple answer is yes, I'm receiving.
okay, good. I understand. You're receiving those static voices, static sounds. Now, I noticed my static sound was years ago when I was lying in bed. I mentioned in my video where I just lying there in bed, and then no TV was on. Okay, all the electronics was off. Nothing was on, silent. And that's when this static sound was become very apparent to me. It's really
Mhm.
loud. Was uncomfortable, so I had to turn my TV back on. Just leave the TV on. Um, Now that static sound, you're receiving it. It gets really loud. My advice is you get your index, use your index fingers, okay, and you plug both ears, and then you hum, okay, and then you feel that vibration inside your mind, inside your head. You do that for 2 to 5 minutes, and you're gonna feel so much better. And that static sound is gonna be lower. It didn't go away, okay. It can go very faint, so faint where you have to really pay attention to it to hear it.
Right. I remember you had the singing bowl one time,
Go ahead.
and and honestly, I was like, okay, this one's gone over the edge. Like, I believed that you were targeted, but I was like, oh, here's another one that's gone over the edge. But then I thought, what the hell? Let me try it. And I tried it. I don't have a singing bowl, but I tried it with like some ceramics that I knew could make a sound, or like a metal cup. And lo and behold, yeah, it worked, and it would seem to disrupt it.
Yeah,
Do you? How do you think that works?
because they're actually next to you right now, and by you hitting a bowl, you're actually hurting them. See, what you did there was, for once, you were actually making an offensive attack on your gang stalkers. Like,
Hmm.
one thing I like to do is I like to clap my hand, and
Mhm.
I figure out when they're, let's say they're attacking like my part of my calves, okay. And what
Mhm.
I do is I figured out that if I clap the area around my calves, kind of like just the space, maybe like a couple inches, above my calves, area, just kind of not
Mhm.
touching it, but just kind of clapping in the area. I noticed
Yeah.
that sometimes the the sound would sound like a critical sound, kind of like a more like a stronger pop.
Mhm.
Okay, so and then I was like, wait a minute, why is this sound extra like deeper? Like this part of the clapping. And if I keep clapping it, the sound goes less and less. So if I find a different area, eventually I'm finding these critical areas where just the sound is so much louder. So then I've kind of realized that I'm actually hurting them. Like, I was basically clapping on a perfect spot and creating this louder sound, basically, just louder vibration. So to me, in my mind, it's just I'm actually attacking them, returning the favor to them, because uh, these gang stalkers are always next to us. Your gang stalkers are all around you right now, and doesn't sound like, well, they are not as bad as some other gang stalkers out there, because it seems like you're actually able to. Sounds like you're doing better than the majority of TIs out there. I'll tell you that. Like, you're just, your awareness is, it's a lot stronger and higher than majority of TIs out there. And there are some gang stalkers out there who are just really bad, and they can really turn a TI into this very
Yeah.
negative person.
Well, and I think that whatever this is, that's what they want. That's what they want. Um, they want to, like you said, you were wanting to forward your life, and they would kind of make you feel like you shouldn't think about that. You should think about that later. And so they obviously, whatever this is, they want to negatively impact our energy and our ability to touch other people's lives. And so, even though one of them did somehow get into one of the places that I live and assaulted me, if I was going to go over the edge, that would have been the month. And I just thought, no, that's just more hate, and this was an act of hate. And if I'm going to get through this, I need to do to not lower my vibration. So yes, some of them are nasty. And but going back to what you say, that so you say they're all around us. How do you think that happens? So they're not, I mean, they're not in a physical body if they're all around us and we can't see them.
Did you watch my? You can actually see them if you look closely. They're actually everywhere. And well, one good part of information. Did you watch my latest video on electric mist?
I didn't see that one, no.
Okay. Well, if you watch that video, it might actually
So someone else called it a broadcast. You mean like some kind of a?
No, they are actually, you can call them particles. You can call them some other type of uh life form. I mean, it's they are actually here in the physical world. Like our eyes, I mean, I can identify them because of my, based on like all the years of training. Um, I notice if I try to like look in a room, I notice a certain corner of the room is all of a sudden it goes blurry.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's
I have.
how eventually I
I've
realized
actually
that.
got it on film. Mhm.
Yeah, that's when I
Yeah.
realized, okay, they're just gathered right at the corner of my room or certain room. Like you actually
Mhm.
just kind of go into a room and you just look around, and I started noticing as I turned my head, how come right there behind the bookshelf, or next to the bookshelf, right there, the bookshelf in the bed, it seems like all of a sudden it's like blurry, like it's just like some like dust particle or something is there to create this like blurriness in that spot. I mean,
Right.
that took me a while to connect the dots, but eventually I figured out, okay, so they're just more gathering there. Like, so they're actually here in the physical and they're in every building. Even right now I'm talking to you, there's a bunch of them next to me, but I mean, they already know I'm very mean around here. Like I can really talk a lot of shit to them, and I talk shit about really bad stuff that no one should be talking shit about. But then I've been pushed to that point where I just really talk a lot of shit to them, and that would shut them
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, because I mean, they can physically do things to you, so you do have to let them know you're not someone to be messed with.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're actually used to, for whenever they mess with people, they're used to people not realizing they're there, so they get away with everything. But here is different because I actually use my devices, like my whistle, my demon whistle, like my um the alarm, that alarm stick I use, um
Mhm.
bowls. Like I use basically, I can use anything now, and I know if I hit two objects together, that creates a vibration. Okay, and this vibration is what they don't like. And you ever notice like those okay, like a Native American when they do those, or even those tribal African tribe, they'll do their ritual dance, gather around the fire, and they're always wearing all these different like shells, or breastplate, or they're wearing all these different things, clothing with those what are those fringe, you call them fringe, is what they call those drapey
Right.
looking things.
Okay.
Like all those things, when they're moving and dancing, they're actually creating a lot of vibration in the area, and that's what these spirits, these gangstalkers, they don't like it. They don't like us moving around too much. That's why most TIs, they tend to get trained to a point where they just don't even go outside no more, or they just feel extra tired if they have to go out of their house and go take care of some errands, or take care of business. Um, because these spirits actually being out in public, they get affected by the environment. Like when there's strong wind, when it's raining outside, when it's snowing outside, the environment actually uh, it's something that they don't like, and that's why they just prefer the TI to be indoor. They prefer the TI to be sitting there on the couch, watch TV for hours and just not move. And they like it when the TI goes to sleep or just lying in bed. But if the TI is already not very active, then they, I realize they don't even want the TI to go to sleep, because it's entertainment for them to mess around with this TI. But if the TI actually, are very active and moves around, then these gang stalkers, these spirits, they they would want the TI to go to sleep, because one, the TI is already tired from working, and two, they've been following the TI all day long, so they're tired. And when we're sleeping, we're lying there not moving. That's when they absorb our energy. And I got a feeling. Do you wake up in the morning with dry mouth? And you've been having this for many years.
No, not that. I definitely I wake up and sometimes I will feel like it is my death day. I will just feel so incredibly drained,
Exactly.
and I'll feel ill. But then as soon as I start to push myself and say, F this, I'm not. I'm not gonna allow well, I kind of look at it as like a matrix. I'm not going to allow the matrix to tell me that this is how I'm going to feel today. Instead, I choose health. I'm going to be healthy, and I am very active, and I love to move around, and I'm always doing projects with, I like to build things, and I work a lot too, and my work is very physical. So I guess that kind of fits with what you're saying. They don't want you to move around. They want you to just be, they want you to feel sick and not move around. And I've definitely, in the beginning, I lost a lot of time, a lot of my life to just going, no, I feel sick again. It must be something really serious. And then as soon as I make up my mind that, nope, this is something that's somehow being suggested to me, this is not me, this is not reality, then I'm able to change it most days, but not all the time.
Okay. Now, I, I, that's exactly correct because think about it. It doesn't make sense. See, I realize a person goes to sleep for 8 hours, right? 7 to 10, 7 to 9, 8 hours, and I notice when I wake up, my back would hurt, or I feel like I'm drained.
Mm-hmm.
And sounds like you know exactly what I'm talking about. So how that doesn't make any sense, right? Because we go to sleep, we're supposed to wake up refreshed, and but we wake up tired or feel like we went through battle or something happened, right? Why am I so
Yeah.
tired? Like, that's because when we're sleeping, these gang stalkers, these spirits, are right on top of us, sucking our essence. And what they do is, I don't know how they do it, but I know for a fact they actually suck the breath out of our lungs. So when we breathe out with our mouth, like that air is somehow is essence to them, and they absorb
Yeah.
that.
Yes. I was watching one of your videos. I don't remember which one it was, but you were talking about, it was the last live stream, and you were talking about the sensation of claws on your face, and I got goosebumps. And I'm sure if I was looking in the mirror, the color would have drained out of my face, because I had had that right before I started to notice this big shift in how people were treating me. I had the worst episode, I guess, of sleep paralysis ever. And it felt like there was a huge being. There's no other word for it. And not a person, but like a huge being pinning me down onto the bed. And yeah, exactly like you described it just now as well. Draining,
So
draining.
you felt this being actually on top of you when you're having sleep paralysis.
Yes. And I just deep, deep down, as deep as you can imagine, probably in the pit of my soul, something inside me said, you have to fight right now. This one is a serious one. Like, something was very different about that one. I don't know if it was just more powerful, or I had just gotten beat down so much. I had to have like extreme weeks and weeks of not being able to sleep right before that. So I guess maybe I was just weakened, and then it decided to attack. It was crazy. And as soon as I could move, I did, and jumped up out of bed. And it sounds crazy, but I do believe. I've been a spiritual person my whole life, so I do believe. Well, up to this point, I had heard and believed some people who shared that they had some sort of encounter with demons, but up to that point, I had never experienced anything like that. Anyway, so flash forward to the end of that moment. I stood up and I said, "You are not welcome here. You leave right now. Get the fuck out of my house." And then I felt nothing. Like, I feel like I did. If it didn't leave, then I did somehow kind of ban it from that area.
Hmm. Now, what I believe what you did was really good because it was for if it happens to somebody else, okay, let's just if it just keep happening to people, some people out there is gonna wake up, they regain control, and they're gonna be in fear. Okay, they're gonna be in fear, and they're gonna take a while to calm down. Once they calm down, they kind of forget about it. But then that seed is already planted into their mind. You see, and once that seed's planted into the person's mind,
Mhm.
they can always use that thought whenever they like. When a person that person's actually doing better and they have more happy positive thoughts, all of a sudden that negative idea of, oh, that remember that sleep paralysis with the demon, like will just pop into the person's mind and totally just start draining any happy thoughts out of that person. and
Mhm.
and these are like seeds. So for you, you woke up and you're not scared. That's really good. So what they did, it actually, you show them that you are very brave and you actually have a very strong spirit. Because I woke up, I was cussing at the top of my lungs. I was just basically saying, "Where are you now? Where are you? Like, why you run away so fast?" I was just
Yeah.
screaming out so loud, and then nothing was there. So I just kind of like went back to sleep after that. I mean, like I wanted to open my eyes when I felt the lips on mine, and I can feel these, my air was being sucked out of my lungs. And I also know, okay, this wasn't my first time, experiencing sleep paralysis. I know, okay, I'm gonna regain control very soon. And
Mhm.
in my mind, for a moment, I wanted to open my eyes and actually see what it looks like. But before I could open my eyes, I was also receiving thoughts. I was receiving images in my thought of what this demon looks like. And it's like I can recognize that they're telling me, oh, it's gonna be a scary, this thing is really ugly, or you don't want to look at it. But then like this was happening really fast in my mind. Then I also realized and noticed that, okay, no, I do want to see it. And I just opened my eyes and there was nothing there. I was kind of disappointed.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see anything either. It was awfully dark in the room, and I noticed that when I went to sleep, it hadn't been that dark. So there definitely didn't seem to be a darkness, but that was it. Couldn't actually see anything,
Yes.
and yeah.
Now,
Well, mhm.
let me go back to you. Oh, sorry for sidetracking, but so right now, how's the relationship with your family? Like, are you okay with them, or do you believe that they're messing with you?
there. I think there are episodes when sometimes they do seem to be taken over. I've found that just praying that none of us will be hosts to any demons or any bad spirits, and that has seemed to help. But I they've noticed changes in me. They've noticed that I'm more stressed. They've noticed that they notice things, and so they started to ask a lot of questions, and that's when I started to tell them a little bit about what I do know about different types of stalking or targeting, watch lists, whatever you want to call it. And they don't believe, and they know that they there's a lot of propaganda out there, like you had said. There's a lot of these symptoms conveniently fit the criteria for schizophrenia.
Yeah, it
So
is.
yeah, so
And,
they thought I needed some serious help, and I said no, no.
well, I mean, it sounds
Um,
like your
that's the
family.
question I had for you. I wanted to ask, like, is this something you talk to people about, your significant others and your family members?
Well, my significant other knows about it because I've been talking openly to her about it, and
Mhm.
um, she understands. And but at the same time, I don't. I've been, you know, toning it down a lot since years ago to accommodate her, because one day I gotta realize I can't be thinking about, okay, she's got to accommodate me. If I'm going through my episode, if I want to yell and scream, she's got to be okay with it, right? Like that's actually not going to be beneficial for me, because in our
Right.
okay, at least for my experience in my life, I need someone that's there that's not like me, so they can keep me in check. And I have a kid, so it's like and she explained to me, like, okay, you have a kid, I can't be going through those episodes, just like before the kid. before my daughter came. So it's like,
Mhm.
and she's right. So I noticed my mentality, my personality, everything, my my anger, everything is just a lot uh less, to a point where now when these gang stalkers are trying to mess with me, I just don't show them anything. Like, I don't show them frustration. I just ignore them, just do my things. But when they keep talking, because if I ignore them, they'll keep talking, try to get my attention. I'll just start talking trash inside my mind. I use voice to skull, and
When
you
you
already
when you
even.
when you talk about talking trash, do you mean
I just say fuck
cursing,
you.
telling them awful
I just
things about what you think about them?
well, for me, I like to keep the sentence short. Like, if I don't have my phone, I mean, with my phone and audio, I can mix information. Like, they'll tell me, oh, they actually get energy from our cell phones, and it kind of makes a lot of sense because everyone got a cell phone now, so it's like everybody walks around with a battery, kind of.
Mhm.
And so, um, if I don't have a cell phone, I would have to use my mind, because some of the gang stalkers are letting me know that they're talking, but then they're talking using some of my energy to talk. So that goes back to our chi flow, like our blood flow, like the chi, like for me, I'm understanding the chi is like your energy, your life force, your
Mhm.
bioenergy, and
Right.
to hold on to your chi, you're gonna have to like flex your body somewhere. Like let's say you grab onto a dumbbell, right? You're holding onto a dumbbell, right? You're actually using your energy to grip onto this dumbbell, and you're holding onto it. Okay, so that is holding onto your own chi. And when we're not holding on to anything, we're just kind of chilling, we're relaxed. Then our chi is just kind of like can be just around us, and these entities, they can absorb it, right? They can take away our energy, and they'll be taking it for hours and hours and hours and hours. So even for them talking, it's taking away our energy, right? It's very subtle because it goes to tinnitus, the static sound. It's taking our energy all day long, because that little static sound inside our ears is constantly going. We're actually picking it up. So our mind is actually picking up this sound all day, 24/7, and it's taking away our energy very gradually, okay, and very subtle. And if it wants to go louder, it can make us. Well, I learned that it can make me forget about what I was doing during that moment. Let's just say when I'm talking trash to them, I'm kind of heated, but I'll be still kind of doing my thing, right? Like, continue doing my thing. But during
Mhm.
that moment, as I'm doing my thing, I notice I'm actually just going through the motion, but then I become very forgetful. Like, I'll all of a sudden be talking trash, walking back and forth, and then I'll put my phone down on top of my hood, right? And then I'll be walking off doing other stuff, talking trash, and then 5-10 minutes later, I'll be like, okay, where's my phone? But then I've forgotten that I actually put it on top of my car, the hood. It's because during that time when I'm talking trash to them, that ringing sound is actually very loud, and I'm just going through the motion, and I put my phone down, not realizing it. And that's also what a lot of people are actually going through when they say, oh, they're missing keys, they're missing remote, missing this, missing that. It's because of that trance-like state of mind they're being put through, and they just left their item somewhere without even noticing that they left it there. Does that make any sense, or does that sound kind of like confusing?
That sounds crazy. This
Yeah.
is all crazy. All of it's crazy. But no, I know, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think I've had experiences like that as well.
Now I want to say
So,
I believe your family do care about you, and I think you already know that. And yeah, they wouldn't understand if they're not going through it. But I'll tell you, the entity is already inside your home, so the entity can mess with everybody. And sometimes these entities, they're not necessarily once bad to you, and your family, but they are very sensitive, and they are very they believe they're the one in charge of the area. Like, they really do believe that. And for me, I realize that they're here on my property, and I've been battling them for years. and it's gotten to a point where they, I believe, I has really uh, pissed them off a lot because they're just not used to a person, you know, making a bunch of noise at different hours during the day and like talking trash to them, like so. I think I earned a lot of their respect in a way, and yeah, and only by battling these things, that's how I learned all what I learned.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I also want to say, do you feel like something bad's gonna happen to you? Like when you go out, do you feel like you feeling like, oh, something bad might happen, or something bad's gonna happen to you? Do you feel any of that?
Yeah, I have to constantly fight all of that off. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so when you go out, do you actually think about carrying like a protection, like a weapon or anything like that? Some type of pepper spray, anything?
Pepper spray, yeah, sure.
Okay. I used to, always go out with a pistol, like that was totally illegal, and thank God nothing bad happened to me. And pepper spray is good, it's good self defense. And I was also going through the life like that, having these negative thoughts about, oh, today could be bad, today. But then after all these years, nothing happened. So for me, I realized, man, I wasted a lot of time in my life just thinking about that crap when I'm still here. Like it's like you can't live life expecting the worst to come to you, and it's today to day. That's I realize that's just not a good way to live. It's better to just once you understand that idea in your mind, it becomes easier to just let go of these little fears because even if you go out in public, like they're talking about you, I would tell myself, things like, oh, am I like being watched, by a bunch of people, like kind of like are they watching me, and these voices entity will actually tell me that they are watching me, and I it doesn't really do much to me, but at least that thought is better than listening to them talk a lot of trash about me and not knowing what's going on. Kind of like I can create my own narrative in my mind, but more positive one, more empowering one. And it's like it takes energy, but then you really have to at some point you really have to understand that idea, and you're really gonna have to start doing that. Like if they I have images where they send me like, oh, something really bad, like oh, all of a sudden someone I know would get into accident, right? When they send me that thought, that's a very negative thought, and I realized a good way to counter it is to imagine a movie set, and the director go cut, like stop filming, and the accident, whatever these entities sent me, the people in the crash, they'll just get up and they're just a bunch of actors. You see what I'm saying? Like that way of ending that idea, that negative idea, is a lot better than for them to just send me these negative ideas of someone I know got into a crash and that's it.
Hmm.
It's like so it just left there in the negative thought in my mind. So and that will always just kind of lingering there, even though I know it's not real. It's just an imaginary thought that they sent me. You still need to take the necessary step to have closure with a positive closure. And the best for me, it's like the best way I see is just imagine a movie set and just an actor, bunch of production people, crew working there, and they're just filming a movie, and they're like cut, and everyone just like get up, and that's how I would like to end that scene in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, have you ever you had the V2K? You have mentioned people being influenced. Have you ever gone through any of the other stuff?
Such as,
Real people having real conversations about you. As I mentioned. Um,
um, like when you say real people, like go outside, go to a store, and I can hear them talking about me.
yeah, and you can see their mouth moving. You can see that they're saying the things, and they're looking right at you, and it's not a
For me,
hallucination because
I
you've been feeling good that day.
I hear them. Okay, I do hear them talking about me, but I just go about my business. I don't actually stare at them and have a stare down and see if they're talking about me. Because when I did do that in the beginning, it wasn't them. I would actually go up to them and talk to them. and the voices
Mm,
didn't match. And
mm,
let me tell you, and I realized it gotten to the point where if they, I can't stop other people from talking because that's part of just how society works. I cannot just go to public space and tell these people in public, stop moving your lips, stop talking about me. I can hear you talking about me. Don't talk about me. See, like that is not going to be productive for me. No matter how, maybe just the once or twice in the beginning, I want to go release my frustration to them. I mean, they're gonna be looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" It's just gonna be like not a good feeling, even though no cops are called or whatever, right? And so that is not productive. It's not a good way to go about it for me, especially moving forward in life. So I realized this early, and I tell myself, if they're not coming up to me, literally within arms arms distance, and talking shit to me, look at my face, I'm not gonna let that shit bother my mind because after that, because these V2K will constantly bombard my mind with these, oh, those people are talking about you. Or if I go, try to investigate, turns out they weren't the voices, then they really just kept like telling me stuff like, oh, you should have interrogate them more. You should have questioned them more, blah, 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 all this stuff. Just a series of these negative thoughts just keep coming in, keep coming in, keep coming in. But after 30 minutes, I'm at the checkout, checked out everything, go to my car, put everything in my car. What happened? Nothing happened. I realized, okay, so I was just in the store, spent 40 minutes having all these negative thoughts. All these negative thoughts keep coming into my mind. And now I'm in the car, already got my stuff, and now I'm driving home. Like, so when this keep happening, I just realized, why am I wasting my energy on that? You see, at some point, it clicked to me that I'm just wasting so much of my energy on it. And that was before I become like this type of like a no fear mentality person, you know?
mhm,
So, and ever since the experience where I just like, I had that kind of hit the wall and say, fuck you, and then just this fuck you war kind of going back and forth. And ever since then, that's when I started understanding this no fear mentality because I started calling their bluff. They'll tell me, voice to skull, that they're going to kill me tonight. They told me this many times. Every time I hear that, like I feel like shit. I start going through all these fear, like start thinking about my family, like, oh, they're gonna kill me, then kill my family, or they're gonna kill my family, and then they try to blame it on me for killing them. Like all this scenario went through my mind, like, but sent in by them. You see, because naturally I wouldn't think about stuff like that. So that's another way for me to tell these aren't my thoughts because I don't think about killing anyone. Or and then you start talking about killing me tonight, I won't be able to wake up. No, I got to the point where I just said, fuck you, and start talking mass shit to them. And I basically said, if I wake up tomorrow, you guys are gonna be pussy bitches forever. So I
mhm.
basically call them that. I even pushed them. I called their bluff, and I'm still here. So my gangstalkers are pussy bitches forever. Like, you see how that works? It's like I called their bluffs, and nothing happened. Like, and when I watch other TI's videos, the TI can, the TIs that actually get in trouble are the ones that are going through these confrontation with other people. And sometimes they'll get away with nothing happens. Sometimes they'll get away with no cops called. Sometimes people just kind of they'll get away with scaring the other people, you know. But other times, that doesn't happen every time. And sometimes they'll actually get real confrontation back, and cops get called. All this stuff happens, and one thing led to another. They could either get taken in, or who knows, right? The more you do something like this, the more likely something bad is going to happen. So I don't put myself in those situations anymore. And all I do is talk shit, and it works for me. And
Mhm. Gotcha.
I mean, I don't know if that kind of clear anything for you. Um, like I voice to skull to me is the worst harassment. And I know there are TIs out there making videos saying, "Oh, you got no evidence." Same people have no evidence of one headlight, color red and all that stuff. See, to me, that is just fine. You want to call that evidence? That's on you. But then where's the harassment? because the logic there is just being fair. What's the logic here is when I see a one headlight, I don't let that bother me at all. Like that doesn't even penetrate my mind when it comes to negative thoughts. See, because when I see something, okay, nothing's happening to my physical body, nothing's happening right now. I'm seeing 10 one headlight cars in front of me. I'm sitting in my car. So what? What's happening to me right now? I mean, none of those drivers are trying to drive their car right into mine, but they're right there in front of me with one headlight. So what's really happening to me as I'm sitting there looking at them, right? The only form of attack I realized as I'm sitting in the car looking at these other one headlight cars is inside my mind. That's the only form of attack. And that's where I realized these negative thoughts, what they're doing is attacking my mind. And you might just think, okay, just one incident, fine. Maybe it happened 3 times in 2 weeks, fine. 4 times in 2 weeks, fine. But now, after you do that many, many years, that's a lot of hours spent on those negative thoughts. See, a TI might just end up not realizing this.
A lot
They're
of us
just
are getting a lot more than that. A lot more than 10, a lot more than some weird run-ins with people. A lot more. Yeah, there's.
But my question is, what does it do to you? Like, how's that harassment though? Like, what other than what's going on inside the mind, right? The negative harassment coming inside the mind, the thoughts, the ideas. Because as you're seeing them, it's just the next form of attack that comes in is just the thought that you have, right? The thought you have about them, how you associate them, the one headlight, sensitization, right? How you kind of
So you just positively think your way out of that, and you just don't let that bother you. You tell yourself
because
that
I
there's
mean,
no harm.
unless
Okay.
I mean, how would you go about it if you see it? I mean, I don't.
I think that, like I said earlier, that everyone's going through slightly different things, and it's certainly for me and a lot of TIs, it's not negligible stuff. It's not like it's not a coincidence when you confront a perp and then you end up getting assaulted. It's not a coincidence when someone is on the same aisle that you go on, when you go down every single aisle and then circle around and they do the same thing, and they may be being influenced and they may not be aware. And I think a lot of times that is the case. And so there is nothing to do about that. But, you're still a conscious person noticing these patterns and going like, okay, now this person has followed me around the store for an hour and has been in every single aisle that I've been in and has made it a point to walk up to me and be right next to me.
How
And
often does this happen?
that kind of stuff, I mean, it just kind of depends on where I'm at and how long I'm there, but that kind of stuff, every 2 weeks, something like
I
that.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, the other person, I'll tell you, the other person could be a TI as well, but then they're just going through a more confrontational experience, wanting to actually. That person could think of you as a gang stalker, and that person could actually want to confront you, just like how sometimes some TIs want to confront the other person. I mean, that could, yeah, you're right. I believe they're more being manipulated, not knowing it, than actually getting paid with gift cards. And and like, okay, that's happening to you, like that's happening to me. But here's my argument here. What do you want to do to that person? Like, you're not gonna touch them, right? I mean, you're gonna get in trouble if you hit them, or you're gonna, if you say certain thing out in public, other people hear it. I mean, you get in trouble. Obviously, we agree on that, right?
Well, yeah, you're not going to do that unless someone is
Attacking.
physically hurting
Yes,
you. Yeah. No,
exactly,
you can do that. You can defend yourself, yeah.
exactly.
And and I have come close to having to do that. But no, so someone's, just in every aisle. It's just it it's an annoyance over time because it's just like, okay, this person is being influenced, or there's something else going on there, and they feel like they need to be around me this whole time.
Do you feel like this person's gonna hurt you physically?
No, I don't think most of them would. I have I have been followed into a parking lot twice, and at those times, yes, I did think one of them was going to harm me. Um, I actually had a one guy follow me into a parking lot, and then as I was getting into my vehicle, he ducked down behind the back window. And so I just said, "Hey, I know you're there. You need to leave. You shouldn't be acting like that." And then he stood up and he walked away.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you gotta be very careful with that because you are a female. Obviously, you're gonna need to really. Yeah, you're right. You need to be more aware and alert when you're out in a parking lot, like you said. Especially, I always tell people, people in my family, don't park too far away from the front. Don't park in like a random dark spot. And just by seeing these other TI videos that they like to sit in the car and film other people in their car. So it's like I try to tell them, don't just sit in the car for too long, because
Mhm.
I believe there's just a lot of TIs out there in parking lots actually really going through this. And and you're right. So you should be more alert about your surrounding. I'm glad you actually noticed that person and call him out. That shows, your strong spirit. Now I'm talking, but once you're inside the store and there's all these other people, right? Like just try to not tell you gotta try to tell yourself if they're following you like down every aisle, like you're saying, which is obvious and dramatic, then you should probably report telling security that this person's following you, or maybe have your cell phone out, wait for the opportunity when there's other people in the aisle. When more people in the aisle, you can kind of throw it out there
Yeah.
like, "Hey, why are you like you've been
In
following me every aisle?" You know.
some weeks, it was so frequent. There was just not enough time. There was not enough film.
See,
I,
but here's the
I
thing though.
yeah,
I
it's
also
happening. And I had tried to report
well,
this to police, and um, they sent a mental health unit out to me. Uh, and so after that, it was like, okay, this is not something I can really report. I should report to anybody, and so that kind of knocked that off for me. Um,
well, see, here's the thing. Like, and you're right because I actually got called in for one of those before, like in one of my
mm,
video, and that's because it's like when you tell them it's their understanding, okay, like a police or those mental health units, their
mhm,
understanding is okay. So even though what you're telling them are the truth that you're experiencing, but you gotta understand they are not the same as you. You're a real TI, and right now you're going through this like game like manipulation, right? And it's the big battle is within our mind, and when we're in fear, when we have any little fear, okay, because I went through what you're going through. Like I was the one that called 911, okay, believing that my neighbors were here on my property. When the sheriffs came out here, like they wouldn't even really look at the place. They wouldn't even go search around, right? And the second time I call, that's when they kind of like took me in for that mental evaluation thing. And
mm,
so it's like my own doing, right? So it's like here's the thing. They would if you're gonna tell them about what you're going through, they would expect to see harassment, like actual solid harassment, proof of harassment. And that's all I'm saying. Like with the TIs going through out there with the headlights, okay, that's evidence, good. But in their evidence videos, what they're missing is that little part that actually shows harassment,
right.
and that
Yes.
is what they're missing. Those evidence videos. If you don't have that, and you try to show this to the police, show this to the mental health people, they are actually not going to take it. It's just the way it is. Like I learned this the hard way. So I'm obviously you already know. Like unless
Yeah.
there's real solid harassment showing in video, it's best to not even show them that video.
Yeah.
And
There was something else you had said that I wanted to
are you
comment
also going
on.
through the red shirt thing?
Huh?
Are you going through like when you see a color like red shirt or anything like that?
I've always noticed colors. I love colors, and so I have been sensitized to it, but I can tell that it's probably not being used anymore. It seems like I see that with just like a normal amount of frequency.
So when you
It's
see
not,
it, it doesn't trigger you, right? You don't think of it as anything bad, right?
and maybe that's the V2K trying to tell me like I will think like, oh, there's red, look, and then I'll be like, no, I've never thought that. I've never been concerned about red.
Good,
And so
good.
I'm not going to start now, and then it'll go away. And then
That's
I'm also able to look back and go like, I always, saw red peppered amongst all the other colors people wear. Red is more of a rare color, but there are some people who really do like red, and there
yeah,
are a lot of baseball teams that have red as the prominent color of football. So it doesn't mean anything.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's good. You don't have that negative C in your mind because
Yeah.
it's. See, I realize that these negative thoughts when they come in for the first time, it's up to me to accept it or not. And now after all these experience I had, like when it's the negative thought, I just ignore it. Or when a thought that comes into
Mhm.
my mind judging another person, I just ignore it because I'm spinning my
How do
own
you
mind,
know
my own
what
energy.
what are original thoughts?
What's that?
How do you know what are your own thoughts then?
I to be honest with you, I thought about this, and it might sound kind of crazy, but I'm starting to believe any creativity, any ideas, it's come from a conversation with another intelligence. And I got to a point now where inside my mind, I'm kind of just mostly quiet. And when the thought comes in, I can tell it wasn't mine. It's like from another like entity, and then another entity will come in. So it's almost like a bunch of entities coming in, and that's how these conversations and ideas start generating. And and then I also realized, okay, so how is it my thought or not? And I don't want to say I know the answer to that, but it has gotten to a point where I feel like if it's a thought that makes me feel good, if it's a thought that's positive for me, it's a thought that helps my life, doesn't hurt people, I'm just gonna accept it. I'm just gonna let it in. Like that's how I see it from now. That just makes it easier than for me to try to stress myself out. Oh my gosh, I'm not thinking about anything. This is not my thought. Oh no, like who am I with my thought?
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
did, yeah, yeah, yeah. I did have one other thing to say, and then I gotta go, and I'm sure you gotta go. You've given me
Yeah, yeah. But I'm
almost
glad
10
I'm
minutes.
glad you actually got on here. Like
Okay,
I'm glad you're sharing your information. That's great. Great. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, and I would love to be on a live stream if, like on YouTube, if you want to do something like that, a collaboration. I've seen a lot of good stuff with that, and it's
Sure.
really inspiring. But anyways, so yeah, back to what you were saying about you were asking, would I hurt someone in a store, and I think that's a misunderstanding about TIs is that somehow we're some sort of a threat, you know. And
Mhm.
no, I'm actually like one of the most peaceful, passive people.
Absolutely.
And I did a lot of Jeet Kune Do when I was younger, and
Is that Bruce
the whole
Lee?
idea was, yeah, 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 yeah. The whole idea, well, technically it was kung fu and jujitsu, but we did start to get into the idea of having no form, having no style, um, and just fighting in the most logical way. But anyways, he was actually really a pacifist in many ways. Bruce Lee was, and he believed that there was no winners in a fight, and I truly believe that. It's only when you absolutely need to defend yourself, or something good will come from it. If you're talking about just a verbal altercation where you're trying to share information or um, help someone else out, protect someone else, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there's no reason to ever go after somebody else just because they may seem to be talking crap, or they seem to be very interested in you in a store. But yeah, I guess that's where the line is. If someone is following you down every aisle for a long period of time, then that may be something to report to the store, because I'm sure they don't want customers doing that to other customers either. That's not good for business.
Oh yeah, I believe it, and
Yeah.
and I do believe TIs are very peaceful people. I do believe that. Um, and I when I said that, or you're gonna hurt people, I didn't mean like, oh, questioning if you're gonna actually hurt someone. I know you're not gonna hurt people. I mean, that's I talk so much trash. I know I'm not a person that's gonna hurt someone, and it's just, I guess what I'm saying is, like, when you're in public, when we're in public, I realize it's just, you can't really fight these people. I mean, it's just, I learned that I need to just not let them take away my focus. And whenever they take my focus, I go into the store, it becomes so negative that ignoring it doesn't work, because I can't keep ignoring it. It's like I still gotta go to work. I still gotta go do this, do that, pay bills, so I can't just ignore it. So something has to be done. And that's when I realized I need to defend myself. And the early form of defending myself is to just talk trash. Like, and that
Mhm.
seems to work so good. It works so good. Like, and that's the early form. And now, eventually I progressed into what I know from discovery. And then also now, like, creating vibration now, hitting, like bowls, or using other apparatus devices, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Seventh. And it was really good to talk to somebody going through something similar. And I hope things stay good for you and your family. And
Oh
um,
wow, very sweet of you. And I want you to know, so if the information I share with you, it might not all make sense to you, or you might not agree with some of them. It's okay. We don't have to agree on everything, and give it some time. Um, they'll come. They might make sense later on. I don't know, but it just kind of just take it for what it is, and thank you for joining me.
right. Yeah. Okay. You have a nice evening.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Take
All right, guys, that was very nice, and nice discussion. Um, oh, I wasn't even looking at the chat. Oh wow. Oh wow, there's actually a lot of there's some chats going on. Hey, what's up, Lex? Sorry, I didn't even know that you guys were chatting it up. Hey, developer. I'm gonna post a link. I don't know if you guys actually want to still join. I'm gonna actually post a quick invite link. Um, if you want to, maybe for another 10, 20 minutes. If not, I'm just gonna end it. I didn't even know there's all these texts here. Channeling the universe will pull information. Yeah, channeling your thoughts or leaking out into the universe and mirroring back. Yes, that's very true. Actually, yes, thinking about positive stuff, it's good. Also, I've been receiving a lot of thoughts about thinking about having money, like holding on to money, and like just good thoughts. Because I mean, to be honest, like I go to work. I would love to have a life, where I can just financially comfortable and take care of my family and be able to live comfortable, but that's going to require money. And yes, so to have that taken care of, that would be great. Demonic entity, yeah. Hey, what's up, Lex? You want to join on the chat if you want to? It's up to you. Yeah, we respond with our thoughts. Yes, that's how I talk trash back to them. using the thoughts, psychic ability. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of psychic in here. I'll tell you that for sure. And and one thing about these, I gotta say something about these evidence and experience. Um, voice to skull. It's if you do some research, and voice to skull is actually very intense. It's one of the most intense experience as a TI. It's because you might, for me, like I actually, before I realized I was getting voice to skull, I would believe that cameras were installed in my home. Like I would believe that, and I would believe, whenever I go driving my car, some GPS was somewhere inside my car. Like all the Wi-Fi's were were hacked. Like, these like different cell towers, or maybe these fake little cell towers that boost like connection to the actual cell tower. Like I looked into all those, like checking all the IP address and where my connection were going. Uh it just kept like scrambling over like really fast, so all these connection. And I didn't know much about that stuff, but then as I'm seeing my connection, all those numbers, whatever, kept changing. It was kind of scary for me. And then I was like, man, what can I do now? Obviously the thought of, oh, you know what, I'm just not going to use, I can't connect to the Wi-Fi. There's nothing safe here. Like I can't do anything. I mean, that was short-lived because I realized I gotta get on the internet. And eventually I just tell myself, I don't even care if they see what I'm doing. Who cares? Like I really don't care. And if it's someone that's going through this for years, like how can you actually really care about what they do? Because if you gotta think about it, if you're going through this for years, and every time you get on the internet, you're worried that they're hacking your computer or they're seeing what you're doing. Like that is just, it's just a sign that shows that it's overtaking your life, as overtaking your life, and it's going to continue to go down that path unless you really want to help yourself and get out of it. And the first thing to do to get out of it is to tell your own self, I don't care. I don't care if they look at what I'm doing. I don't care. Right? As long as you don't go into the dark web and do some shady stuff where they'll track you. I mean, that's really what you hear. I mean, you're not going to the dark web. I mean, every time you log into the dark web, you're actually being tracked. Okay? Like, don't believe in any of that BS. Like, it's always tracking you back to your internet service provider. You're always being tracked. Doesn't matter if you try to bridge to all these different hubs all over the globe. You eventually comes back to your internet service provider, and you are gonna get tracked. Like that is the bottom line. Unless you like Elon Musk, you own your own satellite, right? Your own Starlink satellite internet connection. You're gonna get tracked. That's the bottom line. So who cares? And if you're actually looking up bad information, then yeah, then maybe you should be scared. Because why even look at that stuff in the first place? But if you're just like a normal person, I mean, a normal person not really doing anything illegal to get caught up, right? Most TIs are just doing normal things. Maybe a few of you are drug dealers, who knows? But I mean, who cares, right? Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, just finish up this live stream. So,
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I came in like it's toward the beginning. I was just in the backyard working on some stuff
oh,
I'm
cool,
building.
man. Cool,
Yeah.
man. Is it dark outside already?
Yeah, it's dark. I just got this light on right here because I needed so I could see. I was doing some woodwork.
Okay, I like woodwork. Woodworking is very relaxing for me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I've been working on like planting plants, and so like planting trees actually. And so I'm building
Yeah,
like the where put the plants in wherever they call it, the base of it, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I enjoy actually planting a plant like a tree, and then the watering it. I enjoy that watering part. The next like 5-10 minutes, just watering all the soil around it, getting nice and moist. I enjoy that. That's very relaxing for me.
Yeah, I agree too. I agree. Actually, yeah, I got just recently. It's been a thing for me. I just been wanting to do something different, so I just thought, man, I'm gonna plant some plants. So I ordered like some black oak trees and some black cherry trees, and then now they're soon to come in. So I was like, oh, let me build some pots for them so I can.
Okay, that
Well,
sounds
yeah.
good, man. Do you have a lot of land?
Uh, Not yet. I've been looking at land, like 5, 10 acres. I don't want to mow too much. You get out there and you look at it, and it's like, damn, it's a lot. But no, I just got right now. I'm just doing it in my backyard. But
Okay,
eventually, when I get another place, it's what it's for. So I'm kind of starting it up right now. That way, I can move it over there.
okay. I mean, yeah, that's. I like trees, man. Trees. When you have a lot of trees, you go outside, it's just like a different energy. It just feels like the energy is just a lot different than being indoor with all the electronics and TVs and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like good to have that back and forth change.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always been an outside type of person. I didn't get a phone. I got that first iPhone in 2007, and then I didn't get me another phone until 2015. Just because it's hard. But for me, especially at the age I just turned whatever 22 at the time, I just feel like, man, if you need to call me, just call me on the house phone. Like I'll call you back. It just was that I didn't like the track, even though nobody was. I just felt like, man, I don't need nobody keeping up with me like that. Like it just and so even when I leave the house, I hardly ever bring my phone with me.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's good actually. The phones actually has a lot of radiation. I always I I I don't put the phone next to my pillow.
Hmm.
Like I always
Yeah, I
tell my
try to do
wife
the
to.
same thing. I go out and buy me an alarm clock instead of using my phone as an alarm clock.
Oh, the phone alarm clock don't work for me. It does not work for me. Like I have to get 3 alarm clocks just to make sure they all work.
Yo, I had the same problem, and that's mainly the reason why I do the whole buy my alarm clock because I would have to have an alarm clock, and then I would use a computer and go to like alarmclock.com or whatever it's called, and then uh, play it through the computer too. Because my phone, it jacks up. Sometimes people will be like, "Yo, I've been trying to call you. How come you ain't been picking up?" I said, "I didn't even know. No, on my phone it says you didn't call." And so
Okay.
I've always had issues with my phone as well. Which is funny. I seen this one movie, and it has damn. Maybe you can think it maybe came out like 3 or 4 years ago. It has the guy, his sister, him and his sister are both Cusack, John Cusack, and
John Cusack. Okay.
okay, and what it is about telephones too, and it's like these spirits and these entities, whatever they are in the movie, they're like they attack the airport, and everybody's at the airport, doing their thing. It's like a daily routine, and the first attack hits the airport, and whatever's attacking them is coming through their phones, and since everybody got a phone, it ends up like it's very like it was a different movie. I don't even know what made me watch it, but I don't
So
know.
was it a good movie? How did it end?
No, I don't know. Things like that. Like I've never been an inside movie person, so sometimes I start things and I don't finish it. So it like the preview commercial got me, but sometimes if it takes a long time to set up, like 30 minutes, I'm out of there. And it just took a long time to set up. But the preview looked good. Like, oh, I'm gonna like this movie. I just didn't give it a chance.
Like okay, for years, okay, for many years, I realized I was having problem focusing on the movie, like sit there and watch a movie in its entirety, and
Yeah.
um, and now I realize it's has a lot to do with uh, these gangstalkers absorbing my energy as I'm sitting in the theater or sitting there. But now I don't even watch movies really unless something that I really have interest in, and I might just go go to the theaters once in a blue moon, just go out there.
Hmm.
But normally now I just don't watch movie. I mean I don't really watch show. The last show I really followed completely was Game of Thrones. Um, that was a really good show. I don't know if you ever seen it on HBO.
Okay. No, I haven't seen that one. I'm the same way. I just my whole life I've never been like I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to go, go, go all the time. But when I do sit down and watch a movie, it's usually at least lately because I don't watch TV in general. It's hard for me to even know like what's out and what's new and when did it release. But I start having the want to go back and growing up. My dad would always rent the latest movies, and he always had the latest things. And so, but I always remember like, man, whatever they're watching, that shit seemed good. But I'm in the middle of doing something, so I'm gonna go back out. But regardless of that, so now what I do is I end up watching some of those movies. I'm like, what movie was that called? kind of like that. I guess to reminisce about, oh, I saw this like when I was 8 years old a little bit, but it was stuck in my mind. Now I want to see what it's really about. And that's when I talked about that Denzel Fallen movie, because it reminded me of like, man, that movie came out a long time ago, but I wanted to go rewatch it because I felt like, you know, there was something in that movie. You know, there was something about that movie that made me want to go watch it.
Yeah, that movie, it's definitely about a demon entity, and this demon entity. See, the thing about these demon entities is they're not always stationary; they can move. Like that's one thing. But the biggest problem with understanding these things is we don't see it with our own eyes. Like majority of people don't see it. I
Right.
mean,
I see the same thing like
you
you. I
know,
could,
you
like
know how to
even like I can
identify.
see it like on my eye. Like you ever see? This is what I believe at least. You ever see like something like when you get lightheaded, and it's like the string with the two dots it runs across your eye. Like I don't know
Yes,
what. It's like sometimes it's like right on your eye, and you're thinking like, what is that? Like I think that's what it is. You know, like some people would be like, oh, it's just like a microscopic um, germ or something, right? But if it's microscopic, then how come I'm able to see it without a microscope?
yeah. What you seeing? What you seeing? Or these
Because I'll have
little,
a feeling on my face too. Like I'll have a feeling rub my face like that. And now as I look up at that area, it's like a little I don't know what to call it. It looks like like that blurry string, like a blurry string just kind of floating by, you know. But I'm
like a
also having
beam
a
of light.
sensation, a feeling of something on my face too.
I mean, they're definitely on your face. I mean, and you know what? Next time you feel that sensation, what I want you to do is, I don't know if you watch my other video. I want you to use your hand and just kind of like brush the area, like not on your
Mm-hmm.
skin, but just like maybe like an inch, away from your skin, and just
Right.
kind of like swing your hand and just brush the area, and pay attention to a more a dense, like the area when you swing your hand, you'll feel something's there, like it's really more dense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something's almost at your palm, like you can start feeling like this. Why is it so
Yeah, like
dense? Like
actually, I'll tell you something even better. If you actually go out and grab, like wherever it's at, if you feel it, if you go out and grab like this at it, you all of a sudden inside your fist, you're still a pulsing feeling, like as if it's inside your hand. Like you'll start feeling
absolutely,
a pulsing. Like yeah,
you
this shit
you
is for
you
real. It's
captured
for
it.
real.
You captured it in your palm. That's awesome, man.
And I'll try and carry, and I'll throw that bitch like
And you know what's crazy? Like,
uh.
okay, this is what we're talking about. I'm sure a lot of people don't really understand, but it's all good. Like you can actually trap these things.
You know, I heard you say that shit, bro. And when I heard you say that, it made me want to go watch Ghostbusters, but I still haven't seen it yet.
Exactly.
But
Thank you. Because
dog, there's this whole. I watched this whole thing on Ghostbusters. Okay, the guy who created it, Dan Aykroyd. I know.
yes,
This is
he's
this
a
is
TI.
before. Go
He's
ahead.
a TI.
Okay,
Yes.
no doubt. Like, he said like back when like this is active interviews like before I'm alive, like the late '70s or some shit. But regardless, he's talking, and he's there with his dad talking, and he's saying that like his mom can speak to the paranormal and stuff, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
now, whenever the Ghostbusters movie came out, from me thinking, I thought like, oh, they just ripped out the cartoon. The cartoon's better, but I didn't know that it actually he wrote the cartoon too. The movie came before the cartoon. See, I thought it was a cartoon first because I remember most of the cartoon, but he wrote all of it, right? And so I was watching a video like about because I went to school for like electricity, AC, DC currents and stuff, so I understand some of it. And he started talking about like the neurons that he was using to catch it, and that all this stuff like he's talking about is real. It's like real science, right? Like these ions can pull these things in. I just thought like, well, what is up with this? Like, could you really catch it? And I believe it. I heard you say about the leaf blower, and the first thing made me think of like, well, what about a vacuum cleaner? But I wasn't thinking about Ghostbusters yet, you know, or anything like that catching them. But when I caught it with my hand like that, like you can feel it. Like I say the same thing. If you feel on your arms or your legs or your face and just grip like that, you're gonna feel inside your hands gonna be pulsating. You're gonna fucking feel it, without a doubt. And your mind's gonna shift to be like, oh damn, like what's really going on?
You're absolutely right, man. You just make a bunch of connection. I know exactly what you're saying. Yes. And let me tell you, like, just like Ghostbuster, I also did some research because I also make that connection, the correlation, right? Like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So since they are in the environment, like I said, You can manipulate them. Like when you walk, you can walk through them. When you swing your arm, you can hit them, right? Like you can actually hit them. And that's why go back to the singing bowl. When you hit the bowl with vibration, right? Create a vibration in the atmosphere. So you're actually like shocking them in a way, right?
That makes sense to me. It's like when you explain it like that, what it makes me think of is like if you are in the ocean and you're trying to walk forward and that tide is pushing you backward, it's the same thing, the vibration, because they're in the wind. Any kind of vibration, they're having to fight back to get to you. So,
exactly.
Yeah, all makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
So you watch that video when towards the end I show you that lady, right?
Well, which video are you talking about?
You didn't watch my electric mist?
Okay, I believe I did see that one. The one where it was like showing like a lot of different people.
What about the end though? At the end is where I show the lady at the beach.
Oh yeah, she's in the ocean. And the girl's in the ocean. Okay,
did you see the ghost being blown off?
Yeah, I did see that. Like,
see, here's the thing: the water. She was in the water, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, I believe she probably dunked her head in the water, so her hair's wet, her body's. You know what I'm saying? So having her body's in the water, so this ghost had to be above water, right? So what's above water? And she's holding on to the camera in one hand, selfie stick, whatever. And the cell phone is like a battery pack, right? The camera's a battery pack. And I believe this ghost is grabbing onto the camera, to the phone, for energy, right? To grab onto.
Right.
But since she's in the water and there's only so little air space for the ghost to grab onto, and this wind, you can hear the wind coming in, right? And the wind is so strong, it actually blew the ghost away off of it. Because she could be out in the water. Because they get tired. Let me tell you. They'll try to make you believe that they're not tired. They have all the energy. But give it some time, like 20, 30 minutes, and they'll get tired. So at the beach, if she was there for an hour, that's a whole hour. The wind is taking away the ghost's energy, right? So it's getting weaker and weaker. And then finally to a point where on film, the wind comes in and just blew the ghost right off of it. But let me tell you, that lady, she didn't even know that happened. Like that film, like I caught it and I just couldn't believe it. Like I made the connection. I saw that. I was like, wait a minute, what was that? Like I'd never seen that before. And I just kind of knew from what I know. And I mean, it's just these little pieces of information comes in at these different times. It proves to be so critical, you know, and now that we're talking right now, and I'm glad to know that someone out there like you actually understand what I'm saying, and we're actually making a connection. I'm happy to know that you know your stuff as well, you know.
Yeah, like I said, because for me, it wasn't like everybody else's experience. For me, I was messing with witchcraft and stuff, and so I was allowing this thing to grab my arm and possess my body and stuff. Like I didn't really know like possession, all this. I was so only 22. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just trying to get it to prove it if it's real or it's fake, you know. And the only way I could do that is if everybody else took their fingers off the weed, and it was just me. And then I was just trying to verify stuff for myself. But you know, obviously I took it too far, and this thing, you know, opened up whatever to, you know, for it to mess with me and stuff like this. But you know, so I learned. So I've been able to see them, and I know that they can grab your arm and move it. And heck, no doubt, it made me actually think about like, have you? And this, I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm asleep, but you go to sleep one way and you wake up on the other side of the bed, or you wake up like on the floor, but you don't really remember. It's like that. I wonder sometimes, like, there's something like, because you're able to fight, you're not awake to fight back, you know. So or to be aware that your arms moving or whatever, that they can kind of move you to where they want to, or you know, because I know they do that with my hands. They'll do it with my head. They'd be like, it feels like someone bit my fingers back all night, and I can't clench a fist. Have you ever had something like that happen?
I mean, can you repeat that last part?
Like wherever you have, like it feels like someone has been bending your fingers back all night, and you can't clench a fist.
Someone's biting on your finger, you said?
No, it feels like if someone like if you ever jam your fingers or something like that, and you can't ball them into a fist, like they only go like maybe this far, and you're like, oh,
yes,
well, it's like they're bruised, and maybe throughout the day you can eventually close it without pain or whatever. But
like all of a sudden it crammed up.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, that happens. Yeah, they're actually, if you're getting that, they've been actually attacking you like that for years now. And
oh yeah, and I believe that. I believe that.
They get the bottom of your feet as well. Like soon your feet will get cramped. If you you probably notice there's like some inflammation on your back, right side of your back. Like you,
You know, for me, it's the back of my neck, like right here. I can feel like because I don't have a cell phone that much, but I feel like because I don't want to be looking down and stuff. And I always in my mind I'm thinking I don't want to have like my neck be stuck down like this. So I always try to hold my cell phone up high, and I guess I'm very aware of that. But what happens is because maybe I think what I think is that I guess really it's not me thinking. What I know is that they know what I know, right? They know what I know, and so since I purposely try not to hold my phone down and hold it up and stuff like this, they are sitting on my head and pushing it forward, kind of like because I try and push it back. I even move my TV up high, so I have to look up like this, but I can still feel like my head being like pushed forward a little bit, you know, like it's weird. That's where they like to sit on me, like on the back of my neck, kind of. Uh-oh.
can you hear me? You hear me?
All right, you back. I can see
Yeah,
you.
sorry about. Yeah, my laptop ran out of battery.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so what was I saying just now? Yeah, they like your feet, or if you're trying to like bend over, try to do like some work, like woodworking, or try to dig a hole. Like I can feel them like attacking the right side of my back, like my lower back. And what I
Oh,
do is
okay.
I'll tap it. I'll use my hand. I'll just kind of like slap my own lower back. So when I slap it, I'm actually uh letting blood flow to the area. Kind of like you ever seen people when they in the morning they'll like slap their arms. You're actually helping blood get to the area, helping circulation to the area. So if I
Okay.
slap my lower back where it hurts, like slap it a few times, it actually feels a lot better.
Yeah, for me it's the back of my neck. I guess for everyone they kind of like know what is gonna get that person's attention because they keep messing with that area if they find out that you don't like it.
Oh yeah, they definitely do that. I mean, like that's why you're gonna have to like attack it back. That's why I use the leaf blower. I never mentioned this in any of my video, but one time I was battling them, right? And I realized I need to keep myself in a smaller, refined area. So
Hmm.
like just a smaller area, so less area for it to move. So I was in this smaller area, right? This smaller room, and I had two leaf air blower, right? Inside the room. I closed the door, the window was closed, and I just had both of these, and I just like, and I know this entity was in there with me because when the wind hits it, it sounds different.
Hmm.
It's no longer like I hear the motor of the leaf blower, but now when the wind hits it, it goes like like a different sound, right?
Yeah,
It's a completely different sound, and that's how I realized that's kind of like that's where they are. So I start following this sound, and it was actually moving around the room. So I kept doing it. I was in there for like 20 minutes. Two air blower just keep targeting at it, right? Aiming these air at it, and one thing led to another. I somehow I opened the door a little bit, so it's ajar, right? But I was still in there,
hmm
and it got into one point where I saw a like a like a transparent individual, like a shape of a human, transparent form, like
hmm
clear, ran out of the room. Like
What?
the door was very like ajar by like no more than a foot, right, open. And I was
Yeah.
inside just still using these leaf blower in there, just both two leaf blower, kind of like following the sound whenever the sound, when I hit it, makes a sound. And then eventually I saw this like shape of a human, like my height, maybe a little bit taller, I don't know, but it was like transparent. Like you see the outline, kind of like that movie Predator, with the aliens with the cloak.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
This shape, it just ran out of the freaking room, ran out through the door. Like I saw it just ran out towards the door. I was like, what the heck?
Damn, I never. For me, only one time did I see like a human form or something, and this takes me back to like when I was like when everything first well, actually things happened to me twice. One back in 2007, but I kind of got over it real quick. Like I said, within 3 or 6 months, everything just completely stopped, and I never really thought about this moment again. Bug got on me, but like, so I never really thought about this moment again until like 2015 when things started coming back, and ever since then it never left. But I always thought like, what what happened in 2007 was that there was I was laying down in my room and I was looking up at the bed, like I could see the light, and the light I could see a that blurry bar, that heat wave, that the same kind of cloak form you're talking about, and it was like on the ceiling of my inside my room, and like I could just see it like plain as day, like my eyes just they like I don't know, locked in on it. It focused it. For some reason, it caught my attention when it never usually does, and that was weird. That was weird to me, like, cause that was just so weird to me. But there was another time where I saw like we were talking about. I had left my door open the same year, and it was a different. Well, this happened was different. I woke up in the middle of the night, and my girl left to work and stuff at the time, and so I'm laying in the bed, and the door was open. And I leave the hallway on, in case I had to take a piss. I didn't like bump myself, and getting off the bed. And so, but the door was open and the hallway light was on, and right when I got up and I was gonna go take a piss, it was I could see like a person, like a shadow, on the door. Now it didn't move at all, and I was always trying to tell myself like, even though there's no reason, we ain't got no dolls, but I was trying to think like maybe like somebody left a doll over here, and it's just like where the shadows casted perfectly. But I tried it. I didn't even go pee. I just went back to sleep. I didn't want to think about it. But it always bothered. It always on my mind. Like, what was that? You know, it's very weird.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that shape
Well,
of a human.
it's unexplainable, is what it is. But it's like, look, like what's going on? Like, I have a very good idea of what's going on, but it's just still like, you know, it's just it is what it is.
I mean, like when you say the airwave, here's the thing. The airwave, it's to me that airwave, it's like a shapeshifter, okay? And what it does is I believe that human shape I saw was actually it can disperse into that whole like looks like a heat wave, like that blurry heat wave type of static.
Yeah. Yeah, you think it's like just changing forms. I feel like the same way. Like this thing is not like so much trying to hide itself from people. I feel like it wants to be seen, and it's trying to do its best to be. Because if it can be seen or be heard by you, now it kind of got your focus, and giving it your focus, it's giving your energy to it. So
I mean, I think they always been there, and I just think people just never realized them that they're there. But I think they just been there every day, the whole time.
yeah,
and that's why
no,
I said like
I know the same way. When I wake up or when I go to bed, yeah, like they're gonna be with me no matter where I go. But the difference
and
is,
you know what?
Go ahead.
You're actually to them, you're actually like a jackpot because you're one of the few out there that can are more aware of their existence. So you are actually to them is like more valuable because they can actually interact with you and you actually understand that they're there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of
Yeah,
times there are people out there where they experience this stuff, their mind can't even process it. Like they wouldn't even think anything of it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
Like,
do. I do understand what you mean.
and back to what you're saying about the heat wave, okay? Now, if you watch any of the if you actually watch like start watching movies and you pay attention, like war film, if they use a flamethrower, you would notice that heat wave, it's similar as in movies as well. That heat wave, okay, that like that wave over a campfire, they're actually kind of there, but it's like it's not just like heat wave. Right? Heat wave sounds like okay, heat wave, whatever. It's not just that simple because it's like the fire, the heat is creating, it's making something show itself in a way. Like you actually see some clear, like some particles, something is actually in the atmosphere, in the space, and it's being showing itself because the heat is like manipulating it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I believe that has to do with a lot of those electric mists.
Yeah, I just sometimes I wonder like what what gives this energy to show itself, like, or like I don't know if you can, because I always try and think like if there's something that you is allowing it to show itself. Like for me, when I had asked for it to show itself the first time, right, and that's when it did. The second time, I never asked for it, but I could see it on my ceiling. Uh, same thing, the same cloak looking thing, but I don't know if it was something I was doing particular that it was allowing it to get energy, or maybe at that time I just if maybe just was taking so much of my energy was able to do it on its own whenever it wanted to or something. Yeah.
Well, my experience is I know they can come and go, so they don't have to stay in one place. Like they can literally leave if they want to, or they can stick around if they want to. They don't have to stay in one place. And I also realized when I start thinking deeper, it's like there's just some things out there we just don't have the answer for. So it's kind of like I maybe either like, oh, we just haven't experienced what we need to experience to get the information to connect these dots, or it's just we just haven't gotten there yet. Our mind just haven't gotten there yet to have an answer. It's kind of like why the horse have four legs? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, exactly.
why it's like why is
Like
a
trying to
whale
crazy or
why
unexplained,
is the
but
whale
yeah.
why is the whale so big? You know what I'm saying? It's like we can't really answer why a whale is so freaking
Yeah.
big. You know what I'm saying? It's just it is. It's like sometimes some things are just like we try to look for the answer, but then where's the answer? It's like it's
Yeah.
beyond us.
Well, how you were explaining about have you ever had to get back on the other subject? Have you ever had success with actually catching one of these or holding them in place for say in a device or under?
Yeah, I'm glad you I'm glad you go back to the topic. Like here's the thing. You like back to the vacuum part, right?
Okay.
Like the vacuum thing, like that works. But
See, I was
here,
thinking about like Dirt Devil.
no, but here's the thing though. Let me tell you something. I already spend my money on that stuff, so I'm gonna try to tell you something, okay?
Okay.
When we have that stuff, it does work, but very minimal because what we need is funding to build. It has to be a custom thing. It has to be custom built on a grander scale that's big enough to like a large area. Let's say a whole vacuum chamber where we how like we're not too extreme be safe. You know what I mean? It has to be like a custom made uh place because the stuff we buy at average people get household goods like that stuff. It only does very minimal effect. Okay, at least that's what I know. Like a vacuum, like I can go to like a thrift store and buy like 5 of those like donated vacuums and they all work, right? But even then, it's like it gets overwhelming when you have other vacuums, right? So it's almost like counterproductive. It's like I've done it all, man. I at one point I had like 7 of those leaf blower all on, right? All like kind of hooked up to a wall, so on a remote on off switch to the outlet. So when I push this remote on, you're just like all the fan, the blower would just turn on. You know what I mean? Right. So I've done all that. I'm just sit by the blower,
That's
plug.
I never even thought to even try stuff like that. Only thing I really would do is right the same thing as you, just kind of like cuss them out and stuff when they get them. When I can hear them, you know what I mean. I know they can
Yeah.
hear me, and they're trying to convince me that they are me. That's just my other voice. You know what I mean? Like they try and convince me like shit like that, like things like I'm not dumb. I got common sense. And if I know you're not my voice, if I was, I would not be thinking these things because I don't want to be thinking them. But now I'm thinking of them because of you.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man. That I went through the same thing, and my advice to that is just it has gotten to a point where, like I mentioned earlier, with with earlier in the video, with the other person I was talking to. Gosh, what was her name? Is it?
I'm not sure her
Did
name,
it?
but I did get this conversation.
During that conversation, I was saying how
They're the same thing with me. Like they don't. I'm saying I don't really have the voice stuff so much. Maybe if it's super quiet, I can hear it sometimes. But other than that, it's like it's almost forgettable for me at my point in stage because I'm already like I can recognize and I just already like am ignoring it whether it's going on or not.
it sounds like it seems like you're a good person, man. Like all you gotta do just be a good person, and when these thoughts comes in, you just gotta be the judge. Are they good thoughts or bad thoughts? Or are they gonna be good thought that can be sent out to the universe and then have good returns? Like I'll tell you one thing, okay? When I go out in public, I'll be working. And let's just say there's some really attractive person, right? Some really hot lady that just or whatever, right? Walk because I always see them all day long, right? Because I work in a place where there's just a lot of people, I'm public, I drive the truck, I go to different spots, just like a lot of people. And
Right.
really attractive people, And my gang stalker would send me like ideas of what it would be like to be dating that person. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
there'll be a really evil dot comes in about, um, what if they got a boyfriend, husband, and they start kind of like getting their number and telling us like all these like that has gone to the extreme where I already know it's evil. But it's like a test for me, and I just block it. I don't even think about it. But other people out there, you see, other people out there, we might just spend their time
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it and fantasizing about it, and start fantasizing. And next thing you know, spend 15 minutes fantasizing the idea of being with that person, and then they might send you an idea of, oh, what if they're already in a relationship, and now that they want to be with you, and then some TI, because I know this because in the past I have to say from my experience, I've had those little like strange fantasy thoughts. But at the time, I didn't know that it was sent in by them, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, if I keep thinking
So,
about this,
uh-huh.
it's just towards negative thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Right.
training my mind to be so vulnerable. So whenever I see someone that's attractive, I'm gonna have these vulnerable thoughts, which is allowing giving them more power. Because they know one of my weaknesses is always thinking about, oh, see someone attractive, just think about, all these fantasy. So I learned I block them. I don't even think about it. Like, and this is gonna take time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you mean. For me, mine is mostly my suggestive stuff that I get. Thoughts are don't go outside, don't go kick it over here, don't go do that. Just chill out, man. You're always on the go all the time. Just relax, enjoy some time for yourself. Just stay at the house. Like mine, what I said, even though I know like I don't like being out, like I like enjoying the day. I like enjoy being outside, and so I know that these are not even things that I would think of on the normal. It's like and that really makes me know like it's not me. It's not even me thinking this because I don't think like that. I know how I think. I live with myself for 36 years now, so I can understand that this stuff don't come from me.
Well, that's good, man. You're aware. That's really good.
Yeah, for me, the one thing that I get that sticks with me the most to this day is it always being on me. I can feel it on my face. I can feel it on my legs. I can, like you said, on your back, on my shoulders right here. Like I can feel it on me, always rubbing me. Wanted me to put my mind back on it to let me know that, like, it wants me to acknowledge that I'm aware of what they're doing. You know what I mean? And if I don't
Exactly.
acknowledge it, then they just kind of keep at it. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. I know what you mean.
yeah.
And man, you're really good, man. It's surprised that like I'm glad like to talk to you about this because you actually understand about this whole vacuum thing. Like, because when I uploaded this stuff about the demon
Yeah.
whistle, like no one even make a mention of it. Like no one probably. I was just thinking, okay, maybe these people they haven't tried it because I want people to tell me what they think when they try it. But no one has really made any comment about trying this. And I was kind of like shit. But at the same time, I know it's because I just won't understand if they haven't had the experience to understand what I'm saying. And it seems
Right.
like you actually have the experience. It's not the same experience, but it's enough experience where you actually understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
it's
and I
like
think
now,
some people might believe like, yo, this shit is maybe paranormal, but they don't want to. They convince themselves out of it because the thought of it is scary. You know what I mean? Or the thought of they're trying to tell their like brother or sister about it is gonna be like, what's going on with you, man? Like, what are you doing? Like, like maybe they're embarrassed of how much people might respond to them, and
well,
I
yeah, I
never
mean,
had those feelings like I care what you think and stuff like that. And I do try to I don't know. I just never thought though, like of trying to get it off you, but I do like you're onto some shit because the whole vibration thing, it makes a lot of sense to me when I think of whenever I hear it, I'm like, yo, that makes a lot of sense about the wind blowing and that and then you show the videos, it's like, man, what can I think of that is similar that, you know, and I just haven't really came with my own. But whenever you mention that, like actually trapping them, like I don't know if I don't know if you did trap one, but it made me think like, yo, I'm gonna start fucking. When I feel it on me, I'm gonna reach out and I'm gonna grab it, right? And I'm gonna come with my fist and see what happens, and I can feel them in my hand. You know, that's when I
Yes.
was like, boom, like, yo, we can catch these hoes, and I wonder what we got to do to put this shit in action to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, I got a little bit of money that I'm willing to put down on some creative, creative. You know what I mean? Being creative
Yeah,
and
yeah.
taking some shots and seeing if we can't really do something. Like,
I mean, here's the thing: like these spirits, they're manipulating with everyone's lives, like
right.
especially celebrities. If you're a celebrity, you're someone with power, influence, with money and politics. They all got spirits on them. All of them do.
Mhm. And see, for
And
me, I haven't been in a relationship here like maybe 2 years, about a year and a half. But for me, I thought that like it was a point where I did think like, yo, it's everybody around me. But I did. Well, I knew it was everybody around me, but I always felt like it was the spirit messing with them. But there was some doubt in my mind, thinking like, this spirit can't be messing with everybody, though. Maybe they are all in on something. They ain't letting me know, you know. And then it would. I just didn't like the fact that like, shit, I don't even want to be in a relationship because I feel like I'm being betrayed, you know. And I feel like a lot of people who are single and stuff like that, they feel like that, or they don't. You know, they feel like their own family's betraying them. You know what I mean? Because that's how it makes you feel. But
well,
it's not what it is.
because the person have bought in too much into these negative thoughts, and these spirits can
Yeah.
mess with everyone around you. Like if you're in a relationship, that's why relationships hard for a TI because your partner has got to be on board. They got to understand what's going on because if both both TI are believing in is the government, that relationship's not going to work because that's too easy. Because
Yeah.
they're going to
I
start
agree.
eventually thinking the other person is actually being hired and it's like they're to like fuck their life over. You know what I'm saying? It will eventually get to
Yeah,
that point.
yeah, I get that. That's exactly what it had me thinking that like, yo, I'm not gonna be with nobody if they ain't even gonna be. I mean, especially being the man in the relationship, you want somebody gonna be loyal to you, like respect you, and if you think people are doing this, you automatically are thinking that they got no respect for you, you know. So it's
Right.
automatically like a stab. They're stabbing you, and you're supposed to like that person. Like, how can you continue to like that person? It must just be a physical attraction. You can never emotionally like that person because you feel emotionally like they're hurting you, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
it's a twisted game, but
it's like over time it takes years, like I mean, or
right.
months in the beginning. I mean, all like sleeping together, the sex, whatever, like going out, all that lovey-dovey stuff is cool, but once
Hmm.
that's settled, it's the little things that start building up throughout the weeks and months, and these spirits, they know exactly how to irritate one another. Like they know what's bothering, what triggers this person, the guy, and they'll know what triggers the girl. It's like they know everything. Okay, they know all the both sides' secret. If the guy's out there cheating, or if the girl's out there cheating, like they know that too. Okay,
Right.
and they will play a game and make these two actually can hate each other, or they can make them really just love each other. But it's like, but both if they're both TIs and they both believe in government, it's just there's not enough good spirits compared to the bad spirits. Because
Hmm.
I say like they come and go these spirits. So all of a sudden you might have a good time. All of a sudden a gang of bad spirits can just roll up into your home and start chilling there. Think about it. All of a sudden, let's say you have 10 good spirits hanging around you, and all of a sudden a gang of bad spirits just showed up at your place and start messing with you. That's a lot of bad thoughts, right? So the good
Yeah.
spirits can't really offend you that much, right? So now that comes down back to you as a person, if you're able to deny these negative thoughts. Otherwise, you don't realize you keep bombarded by 80, 70, 100 negative thoughts all day long. And then your partner's a TI and they believe it's government. And they're going to start going through things, any argument, they're going to start making your partner thinking, oh, they argue with me all the time. They're here to threaten me, my life. They're here to sabotage me. They're always making me feel like shit. It's like everything's not going well. Everything's not working together. This is not how I want in a relationship. Like just all these things just keep building up and building up and building up and building up. There's no going
Yeah.
back.
See,
And
that's for me. I would take a long time for me. Well, it would take a long time. It never takes a long time to get in a relationship, but I just would feel like yo, this girl, like within the first couple of times, I'm like, okay, she's not doing the same thing. So, all right, she must not be part of, say, like how some people say, like it's a program, you know. So back then, I think like, oh, she's not doing this, so she must not be part of that. You know what I mean? And I stay with her and only go with people that weren't showing me those signs, you know, and they never would. But then it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, I done eliminated a lot of girls that I like from being with them just because I thought that they were fucking with me on purpose. You get what I'm saying? Like, and then
Yeah,
I think like,
but then
oh, how dumb was I thinking that? Like, but it happens with everybody. It's just the game that they play. You know, it's a dirty game.
yeah. Oh well, that yeah. You just basically yeah. Hey man, I went through that as well, and I mean, just whenever I think about them, I just try to tell myself, well, whatever happened, I mean, I'm still here, and I hope that she's happy with somebody else. I hope she's happy out there. I was trying to project that. Oh, I hope they are happy. With somebody else. Like
Yes.
like I don't try to think of like, oh, I want them in a worse situation, or I want to have revenge on them. Like I don't want to keep that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that hate on your heart, because I'm not a hateful person either. I always been the one where people get upset and I'm like laughing because, like, dog, why you let that get to you? And so like like I always try to remember the advice I give other people. And things like that, it's hard to get to me, and so but sometimes, back in the day, I would let things kind of rack my mind or sit on me a little bit, and I don't know if drinking has anything to do. I've never been a big drinker, but sometimes it makes me think about that just because how they say drinking is spirits, and when people black out, this may be like a little bit different, or maybe it is the same. I'm not sure, but it's what I think. Is like people black out and they can't remember. I wonder, like sometimes, are they not just in the driver's seat? That they're still themselves, but somebody else is driving their body. And maybe that's why they call it spirits, and that's why they can't really remember.
oh wow, that's yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good correlation. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like I see if a lot of people don't realize that these spirits are around, and I realize, like I used to smoke a lot of weed. I realize whenever I smoke
Mm-hmm.
weed, like that's when they love to come start talking in my mind. Because when that happens, I tend to be more creative in my thoughts. But at the same time, now thinking back on it, okay, I learned that a lot of these thoughts are not benefiting me, really. I mean, it's just cool, interesting fantasy thoughts, whatever, or what if this happened, what if that happens, some random little invention thoughts, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like these different scenarios. I mean, now thinking back on it, how would those thoughts really help me in life? Like,
Yeah, unless you
but
take
then,
action or not. Yeah, exactly.
like, I now I realize if smoke, they talk a lot. Like now I can actually tell the difference, right? Because now I can tell the difference between their voices. I can keep hearing them talking constantly, and I can hear some lower voices skull try to convince me that one of those voices was mine. But when the whole time, I'll tell you, when the whole time I was in silent,
Yeah.
the whole
Hey, I
time
had
I
the same.
realized I was silent, I was just hearing.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Go
Mhm.
ahead.
Oh no, I had the same thing. But what it reminds me of when you're saying this, like about you can hear them when you smoke. What it reminds me of is back when I was working, like this one job, like we would all go smoke like on break, and then we come back into the building, and it was a lot of machines were going off, right? So you work in an environment all day or whatever. It's like you don't even know that it's making a lot of noise, and you leave and you come back maybe on lunch, and it's the same thing. Like you don't really notice. But when I started to go on break and I smoke with these guys, and we come back in the building, it felt like it was deadly silent in the building. Like nobody was in the building, right? Like you couldn't hear nobody talking, you couldn't hear anything, and you could hear just the machines going, and they were loud. So I believe that smoking, what it does is it makes things silent where you can hear your thoughts, and that's how it makes things so dead silent that it maybe you can hear them then because it it changes your perception of how you're hearing. You ever notice that when you hear like maybe when you're smoking, it's like, yo, the music got louder, but it really didn't. Nobody touched the volume. I think it messes with like your ear, like your
Yeah, they
decibels.
can.
Did you hear?
Yeah, they can mess with the volume. Like okay, on here property. I don't know if you remember. I mentioned I was outside and there was some Spanish music, right? Out on the other side of the barn. So I go investigate, and the music went further away, like really far away. But then it was lower volume. It sounds like way out there, right in the field. So and then it was dark. I wasn't gonna turn a flashlight on, but in my mind, I was receiving thoughts. I was receiving thoughts that someone's just sitting in their car, probably drinking and blasting music, in the dark, chilling, So I didn't want to turn on a flashlight or whatever, shining it at them, So I kind of just head back towards the house. And as I walking back towards the house, that Spanish music got closer, but it's really loud. It's like louder now. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So that I wouldn't investigate it, the music went further away again. So it was messing with me. It has the ability to create music in the environment. I know it sounds crazy, but it can do that.
What it makes me, when you say this story, what it makes me think of is, you ever have like where like maybe anybody, your wife's in there cooking, your girl's in there cooking or whatever. She's like, hey, babe, it's time to eat or whatever. And you're like, all right, cool. I'm going to finish up this real quick. You head up in there and she's like, what? I didn't call you. Like, I never called you. You ever had shit like that happen? And you're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Nigga, I swear you saw me. Like, I know you did.
Yeah, I had my girl call me like, I would hear her like, babe or whatever. And I'll be like, did you call me? She's like, no. And when we're having conversation, she'll pick up words out of my sentence when I didn't even say that word, but she like swears she heard that word in my sentence. I'm like, no. But that word alone changes the entire meaning of a sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like these are
poltergeists. Especially if the word is like not or stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, one thing for sure, like that's for sure. Okay, they are in the physical, and they can make sound in the physical, and it's not just low little volume whisper sound. They can make loud music sound. Okay, that's these 3 experiences I had, and recently, I'll tell you, like I go to work early, right? And I go to work really early, like in the before the sun comes up, and I started noticing, like starting like a month and a half ago, I noticed I come out here to work, I would hear helicopters, right? Like helicopter sound, right? But I mean, I don't pay attention to it, But then as I'm getting ready, like I'll ready the truck, start the truck, warm up the truck, all this stuff, But as I ready, like everything, get everything going, I noticed this helicopter sound was still there from when I first came outside, And this is probably 15 minutes already. And I'm like, okay, well,
like
when I looked up,
like the sound was lagging behind.
It was just chilling, like almost like it wasn't really moving left or right. It's like hovering helicopter sound, and then I, like I don't really let that bother me, so I just went to work, whatever. And then literally like 2 mornings later, I was going to work again. The sound was there, and then I started noticing when I come out here like at like 12 a.m. the sound was there. It's like a helicopter sound in the sky, but this thing wasn't moving, and it's been happening so many times. Now I know it's just chilling in the sky. Not every night, but I had experience where just chilling there for hours, like just not moving, a helicopter sound in the sky.
The helicopter? I've had like back.
But there was no helicopters.
Something like that, but it was
there was no helicopters.
Huh?
No helicopters, just the sound in the sky.
Wait, you're hearing the sound, but you're just not seeing the helicopter.
Yeah, there's no helicopters.
I mean, well, you're saying there's no helicopter, but I get what you're saying. So you're saying you're hearing the helicopter sound, but you're not.
Yes.
There's no helicopter around.
Yeah, there's no helicopters around.
Okay. Yeah, because you're talking about the whole sound thing. See, this is gonna bring me back to another movie, right? But it's the same conversation about the sound and about these paranormal, whatever's going on, this stuff. Because I remember when I was little, hell, I wasn't that little. I was probably like 15 or something like that. But I was watching Exorcist for the first time. And I remember the start of the thing happened, the movie. There was like thunder and it was thunderstorming outside. And then all of a sudden there's a big like bang, like, what the fuck was that? And I remember saying, like, what is that noise? Because I thought it was at the house, I was like, what? And then my mom was like, no, it's the movie, it's the demon just landed on the roof. And then whenever, that's how she interpreted it, right? Because they didn't show no demon land on the roof, but that's what she told me. And then the movie starts, and it's like, the demon's already in that person's body. And I'm thinking like, because they already called the preacher over. And I just remember thinking, I didn't say nothing, but I remember thinking like, okay, if the demon just landed on the roof, then how come the preacher and the priest is already there to give the exorcism? They would just like to me, it means like if he just landed there, then how can everybody already be there? You know, to me, it has to do with like that whole throwing your sound, throwing like okay. Some people say, well, say voice of school, they can hear other people talking about them, right? But I agree with
Yeah.
you too. Like sometimes it's not other people. Sometimes it's just a helicopter noise or it's something banging on the tapping on the window or
The wall. Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's heightening your sensation. It's heightening you. It's making you. Uh, it understands that it's so quiet that whatever it does, it can hear you, or it might get your attention like this. So, yeah, I believe that not only can it make human sounds, but it makes other noises, you know,
Machine sounds, right?
as well. Yeah, yeah. Because I've had the same. Well, for me, I would say like I've had people call on me, and then when I get there, they're like, "Nah, I didn't call your name." Like, I was like, "Oh, I thought you did," and just that innocent, just forget about it, you know. But now that we're on the subject, I think like, yo, what if it was that thing that is doing this, you know, to just messing with people before you really know what's going on, or before it even intensifies, just like as like a beginning thing, and then that's kind of how it's like, oh, this thing can hear me, and this person can hear me, and they try to start from there. They start messing with you, and then maybe it builds upon you. But the first they have to know that you can hear it, and maybe like if you do like that catches you one instance, they'll stay around and see if they can get your attention again, and if they can't, they move on. But if they do, then they want to linger, like you say.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're absolutely right. It's once they know they can get your attention, it's up to you to make the next move, which is now once you recognize it, are you gonna start thinking negatively, or you're gonna start thinking positively, or you're gonna actually just ignore it? You see,
Yeah.
because for majority of people, a negative thought would come in and be like, "Oh man, those are the police. They're probably spying on people or whatever." And if you accept that thought, it's just gonna go from that towards that direction from then on, right?
You're
But
right, exactly.
if you hear that
Yep,
thought,
you're completely right,
you
bro.
hear that thought, if you hear that thought, but then now if you recognize you heard it and you want to generate some positive thought to counter it, you can think of something and be like, "Oh, it's probably just morning traffic. They're gonna check morning traffic, whatever." Like you could, like, even though let's just say there's no morning traffic, but it's a form of a defense to generate a positive, at least somewhat positive thought for your own mind. Then you can ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Or you can just
Right.
not think
Well, I can say
anything.
for yeah, no, I agree with that. When things came back from me in 2015, it had been so long since I just knew that like, yo, this is like really familiar. It reminds me of '07, but like, what am I doing that I would get fixated on trying to link like, what was I doing back then that I'm doing today that is could be the reason for this? Because I'm like you, I don't really mess with anything hard or nothing like that, and so like just like maybe drinking a little, smoking a little bit. I'm like, no way, I'm not buying like pounds of nothing. I'm not distributing. So like, what is the deal? What's going on? And so I never really,
Exactly.
even though it did enter my mind, I never believed it was the police, and I never believed that my family was in it. Although that stuff entered my mind, I was quick to dismiss it. It just didn't seem plausible to me. But
Exactly.
you know, so it's just I do think whatever your mind gets fixated on, that you're gonna believe that because that thing's always in your ear telling you you're right. That is what it is. You're exactly right. You're onto something. You need to look more into it, And then you start getting on the internet searching and doing whatever you do, but and it's just leading you down the wrong path. It's just because once you figure out it's it that or what it is, then like you said, then you kind of then you like you say you can make your decisions on what to do, on what exactly what to do. And there was this thing I saw back in 2015 that really helped me with my whole thought process thing. Whenever I was going through this again, and everything started getting intense for me, and it would just be little things like I could go down the street, and if somebody opened the door, like as I passed by the store, even though I wasn't going to the store and they were coming out, I thought that like, yo, that was for me. That's like they're signaling to each other that I'm here or something like that. But it didn't make sense to me. But that's what I was thinking. And this one guy I saw online or something, he was saying that, hey, when you get mad or when you have a thought in your head, and you're starting to get upset, because it was starting to, I was starting to think like, yo, what is going on? And how come if something's happening to me, how come my people close to me are not telling me that, yo, someone's after you or the police are looking for you or something? And then because you would want that person to get better and stop doing what they're doing, but nobody's reaching out to me to tell me nothing like that. So, but what this guy was saying was like, when you get upset, you need to. It's best that when you say out loud that, "Yo, man, I'm getting upset. I'm starting to get bothered right now." And then when you do that, you'll let go of that energy, that upset energy, and then you kind of reset your brain like that. And it worked like hell for me. I was like, "Oh man, I'm glad I heard that." I don't even remember how I found it, But just saying that when you just the best that when you start to get whatever it is, scared, upset, anything, say that emotion that you're feeling out loud, and then you can release that emotion from it staying in your body.
Yeah, I feel, yeah, it's actually talking is actually a form of relaxation. So sometimes I noticed that my first experience of hearing these drone like sound, like a almost like a spaceship, one time I was chilling in my room early in my early years of going through this. I heard like a like something was flying in the sky, right? If it flew overhead, it was going further away, but the
Mm-hmm.
sound was never like gone. It was still there, very faint, and then I could hear it coming back, getting louder and louder, and it came right above my house. It was making the sound go wong 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 wong. It was like this up like above my house. And during this time, like I owned a lot of guns, like so I had my shotgun next to me, and I got my pistol next in one hand, my shotgun just chilling there next to the bed, and I was in the dark, right? I was just sitting there, and I had to go to work, get ready to go to work, right? It was like
Mm-hmm.
4 a.m. or so, and this sound was just like wong 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 wong, and then I was chilling there for a while, and I was like, you know what? I gotta move, I gotta get up because I was kind of frozen, and I guess during that time as well, I was receiving thoughts, but at the time I didn't know. I start in my mind, I was questioning, okay, that must be an alien because it makes that wong 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 sound. You know what I mean? It's hovering above my
Yeah.
house. It's got to be alien. And then I started having thoughts like, okay, dude, what if they're good? Like having all these guns, it seems like a hostile like gesture, from my part, And then I
Right.
eventually tell myself, I was like, fuck that shit. If they're gonna make a peaceful contact, why would they do it in the middle of the night when all people are sleeping?
Yeah.
It's not even a peaceful gesture. So fuck that shit. So then I just got up, I turned on the lights, I started stomping, walking hard, and started making hella sound, starting like beefing my own self up. And it felt so much better. Like it made me feel like not scared no more. So making that sound or talking to yourself, talking out loud, it does help so much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I always get, I never had, I say something like that happen with me where but I do think that's very interesting, because you're right. Like, just because sometimes you get the feel, the best way I can say is like common sense. That like you said, man, ain't nobody gonna be peaceful contact in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
like, and who am I to make peaceful contact with? Why don't you go to if y'all been watching this long, y'all know who's in charge, and y'all know that, like, why y'all coming to me? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that, but that's weird, for sure.
But I also
And
believe
it
I
makes
also
me think.
believe that.
What's that?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. Tell me what you believe. I wouldn't have nothing to say. I didn't have nothing to say.
I believe that actually they made that sound to try to see who can actually hear them. And I was one of the person that can hear them. So that's almost like one of those things, because you know how not all TIs, like us TIs, we can hear these gang stalkers, but not everyone can hear them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in a
Mm-hmm.
way, like you have to see ourselves as a little bit more, see us as better, because we're just like we have a skill, a certain ability that the majority of people don't in the world.
Right. That's why I think that whole idea of catching these things, that would be intent. That would be, I'd be down for that. And only if we had some plans on, like, how to build the devices, like what ions go into it, or protons, or how many neutrons, or what we need. If we can find something, like, was the Ghostbusters telling the truth? Can we look up this the whatever they call the diagrams for that shit, and then see if it really works? I don't know. Like you said, we're
I
I
mean,
feel like at least if we're gonna test something, that we'd be in the right situation because we know that this is around us. So if the sensations and stuff disappear that we're feeling on our bodies and stuff, then we know, hey, we actually, this shit actually working. So we would have a good
Well, here's the thing.
trial error to see if it's working or not, until we get it right. But the thing is, like, I just don't know what I could like. Is there a book out there, like, just like they said, there's books of demons and stuff. Like, is there a book out there of people who actually tried to catch these things and had some success? Like, even if they had success and it wasn't acknowledged on a mainstream, I would still like to talk to them individuals and see, like, yo, I'm willing to fucking try. I don't care about the mainstream, believe me or not. I'm just, you say it works and I say it works and shit works. That's all that matters.
I mean, here's how I see it, man. Like, right now we're at a point in time in history was like never before, and with the internet, people are actually there's just people like us are getting we're coming together, like becoming more aware on a daily basis, and there's I mean I learned what I learned because I battle my spirits that's on my property, because they always tell me there's spirits everywhere, and when I go somewhere in public, like, I'll talk shit to them, but I'll talk shit to the spirit that's at the store or wherever, right? Using my mind. And they always advise me that's not a good thing to do because, I mean, there are places on Earth that are,
them, right?
Yeah, there are places on Earth that are ancient, I'll tell you. Ancient. And if you don't want to go into a forest and start talking shit to all the ghosts that's there, because those ghosts, they're in the forest because they don't want to deal with people. And if you go there and start talking shit, like they're also very picky. Like, you don't want to. That's why the whole point of being humble is so important. Like, wherever you go, because you don't want to go to a forest and start throwing trash everywhere, because these things, they're sensitive and they'll freaking know, and they'll get ticked off, and they'll actually really mess with a person. I believe that's how a lot of people, when they go to a forest, they get lost because their mind's put into a trance. See, what I noticed is when all these spirits are on a person, start getting headaches. And it started kind of like a drunk trance-like state of mind, where you kind of just stumble around the area, and the next thing you know, you kind of forgotten where you stumbled to, or you don't remember like where you put certain things, or you feel like this is not the way you came. Your mind's are going through these things because you're getting heavy attack in the forest.
Yeah, I've had that when I was driving sometimes. Yeah.
So,
that makes
hey,
sense.
man,
I've never been to the forest, but I've had that where I've been driving, like, I'm like, damn,
and
I
that's
don't
why
remember coming in the street. Like, all of a sudden I'm here, stop the red light.
Yeah, that's why being in forest, man, gotta be humble, and you don't want to throw trash everywhere. You don't want to be like stepping on the wrong spot or doing something that just like irritating. You kind of just want to pass through, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, since you have so much awareness, you have a better defense than most people. So that's also a good thing. Hey, but I'm sorry I have to cut this short, man. My computer's about to die, dude. Yeah. So, but man, this is nice talking to you, man. This is good talking. All right, man. I'll catch you next time then.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll figure something out. All right, yeah.
All right, have a good night.
All right, later. Have a good night.
You too. Bye. Well, thank you for listening, and have a good night. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there.